Hello, 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 hello. Hello.
Okay. Can I go ahead and hit the gavel?
Yes. Let me.
Write that on it.
I want to ask him. Some of the comments, you know, just like, do they need to sign up at all or does it matter?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that, but I don't think there's anybody signed up.
Okay. No. Good morning. Sorry for about that 3 or 4 minute delay. Normally we start exactly on time. Everybody sitting here pretty much know that, but had a few things we had taken care of this morning. The Halifax County Board of Commissioners meeting on this August 4th at 9:30, about 9:34, will officially come to order at this time. Thank all of you for being present. Just before we move into the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to take this opportunity to let you know that Commissioners Thomas Barrett is in the National Guard. He will not be with us today. He was called up for duty at the last minute. And also, Commissioner Sandra Webb, who is also an attorney, was called to Martin County this morning for Martin County Superior Court. So he will not be with us as well. But we do have a quorum. We do have 4 commissioners present, and we will move forward with that. Also, before we move in that direction, I do want to thank everyone on the sound of my voice for their thoughts and prayers regarding my wife. She's doing extremely well, moving in a good direction after that major surgery she had. And just thank God for each of you for your prayers, your cards, your kind words. Any thought of kindness is highly appreciated, and thank you so much. I also want to thank Deputy Clerk Mary Faison for filling in with us today. She's filling in for our regular clerk who is out for upcoming knee surgery. Do keep her in your thoughts and prayers as well. And I want to thank my colleague, Vice Chair Shanoa Davis, for chairing the meeting last time when I was not here. At this time, we're going to ask those who wish to join us, please stand, or you can sit if you like, for the invocation, and then we're going to have a Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to do that in unison. We're going to be led in the invocation by Commissioner Jimmy Silver.
Lord, I ask you this morning to watch over us, keep us safe, and for the members who are not here, protect them. But Lord, let what we do for the people be in your honor, give you glory. Lord, and just thank you for this opportunity to come together one more time. Ask you for safety for this county and protection for the men and women that serve us. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you have a chance to look at that thing yet? Okay. Okay, at this time, I trust that my colleagues have had an opportunity to review the agenda, and it is your pleasure. I will entertain a motion for the adoption. So moved. Motion made by Commissioner Silver. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Redding. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The next item is the conflict of interest statement. In accordance with the Halifax County Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure and the North Carolina General Statute Section 153A-44, It is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a known conflict of interest with respect to matters coming before us today? Commissioner Redden?
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
Madam Clerk, let the record so reflect that the four commissioners present do not have any conflict with matters coming before us today. Next item is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have 4 items. We have item A, which is the budget amendments. Item B, budget amendments to carry forward funds. Item C, budget amendments to previous deficit spending. Item D, property tax collection refund releases July 2025. Are there any questions or comments from any of the commissioners in regards to that? If not, I'll also entertain a motion for your approval, if that's your pleasure. Motion made by Commissioner Redden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, public comment period. We didn't have anyone to sign up for public comment, and I want to let you know the distinction. We do have a public comment period at least once a month at our meeting, and we're going to change that and tweak it a little bit. We're going to probably start having a second one at some of our second meetings, but that's another story. But anyway, just for clarification this morning, we didn't have anyone to sign up for public comment today, but we do have a legislative hearing coming up, which is also, some of the folks from the public, have signed up for that, and they will be coming up to speak at that time. So don't get the two mixed up. Public comment, we didn't have anyone to sign up for that. Those of you who did sign up, you signed up for the legislative hearing. And if I'm incorrect in saying that, someone raised a hand and correct me.
Can I add to that, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman? It's not only not necessary to sign up for the legislative hearing, so if someone else is here to speak, when we get to that part of the agenda, you do not have to have signed up before you speak during the legislative hearing.
Attorney Ron, that's well spoken, and you are 100% correct, and I thank you for saying that. Okay, next item is the going to the public hearings. At this time, and I may completely mess up her name, but this is the program year 2025 CADA Consortium Annual Action Plan. Lisa Ratskoff, Community Development Manager, Upper Coastal Plains Council of Governments. And pronounce your name correctly when you get to the podium, please, because I know I messed it up.
Good morning, it's Liz Raskoff.
Raskoff, okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Liz. And I see you got a colleague with you as well.
Thank you. This is Ben Farmer, our development director. So we're with Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments.
Okay.
And we are your grant administrator. Halifax County is the lead entity for the Roanoke Area Housing Consortium. So that is different than CADA, just want to note.
Okay.
The consortium is 5 counties that have worked together to become eligible to receive funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in order to support affordable housing across your 5-county area. And each year, you need to have an annual action plan in order to receive the funds. So you've already been awarded the funds, but then to get them released to you to be able to use, you have to submit this annual action plan. We had a comment period that was open for 30 days. As of now, we have not received any public comments, but we're here to ask the board to consider adopting this so that we can then submit it to Housing and Urban Development for approval, which would then allow you to use the funds.
Okay.
So I think that we need an action on this, but we are also available to take any comments or questions.
Okay, at this time, what we're going to do, and thank you for that clarification, Roanoke Area Housing Consortium instead of CADA, as I mentioned previously. What we're going to do now, Liz, we're going to read an opening statement from me about the public hearing, and we're going to open the public hearing, and then we're going to hear from the citizens, and then we'll close it, and action will come later, okay? All right, so at this time, I'm going to read an opening statement in regards to this public hearing. And Liz, you can have a seat back. Okay. Public hearings are held for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding a specific subject. Those persons desiring to speak will give their name, their physical address, their phone number, the name of the organization they are speaking for, if applicable. We request that each speaker limit their comments solely to the issue at hand and not direct comments toward specific individuals. In the interest of time, please do not repeat facts or issues covered by previous speakers. If you wish to comment, you should express your opinion on the subject matter and give the board an understanding of whether you favor or oppose the issues being discussed. The Halifax County Board of Commissioners values and appreciates the opportunity to listen to the citizens of this county and respect requests that above guidelines be followed. Colleagues, with that being said, can I get a motion to open this public hearing in regards to the program year 2025 Charlotte Area Housing Consortium Annual Action Plan? So moved. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Silva. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, anyone who wishes to speak in regards to that, please come up and just follow my instructions.
Seeing that no one is coming forward for public comment, I move that the floor be closed.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Silva. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay. Next item on the agenda is also on the public hearings. We have a legislative hearing, proposed 60-day moratorium on development approvals for mining. Just before I read the statement again, and just before we open it up, I'm going to ask Attorney Rollins to update us on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Board, and good morning to everyone here and listening. The purpose of today's public hearing is to conduct a legislative hearing on whether the Board should impose a 60-day moratorium on development approvals for mining activities or mining operations in Halifax County. Staff is recommending a 60-day moratorium because our current zoning ordinance actually lacks nearly no procedures or development standards for mining operations in the county. In fact, if you search our zoning ordinance for the word mining or quarry operations, all you'll find is a couple of references in the RA district that permits that activity by conditional use permit. It's a feeling of staff that this is such an intensive use of property that it would be more appropriate for staff to formulate and come back to the planning board and to you with more substantial supplemental regulations with respect to mining operations. For that reason, we're requesting that you impose a 60-day moratorium on development approvals. Well, I'll take further questions at a later time, but that will introduce the purpose of the legislative hearing. And unless you have specific questions right now, I will just turn it back over to the chair.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Rollins. At this time, I'm going to read a statement again, pretty much the same statement that I read before in regards to public hearing. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Okay, all right. Just before we open the hearing and have folks to come up and speak, I want to read this statement again. I know that you heard it, but someone may have walked in who did not hear it. So, public hearings are held for the purpose of receiving comments from the public regarding a specific subject. Those persons desiring to speak will give their name, their physical address, their phone number, and the name of the organization they are speaking for, if that's applicable. We request that each speaker limit their comments solely to the issue at hand and not direct comments towards specific individuals. In the interest of time, please do not repeat facts or issues covered by previous speakers. If you wish to comment, you should express your opinion on the subject matter and give the board an understanding of whether you favor or oppose the issue being discussed. The Board of Commissioners values and appreciates the opportunity to listen to the citizens of Halifax County, and we respectfully request that the above guidelines be followed. So, Commissioners, what is your pleasure in regards to legislative hearing proposed 60-day moratorium about opening the public hearing? Motion made by Commissioner Red. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now, the public hearing for the legislative hearing proposed 60-day moratorium on approvals for mining is officially open at this time. I'm going to I'm going to do this a little bit different since folks signed up. Normally, I would just let you come up, but we do have a Hans Dawson who want to come up and speak. I'll ask that person to come up first, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Thanks, everyone. My name is Hans Dawson. I'm here with my business partners, John Cross and Doug Wright, and we're with a company called Synergy Materials. We own and have under contract over 700 acres in Halifax County, where we have discovered a very high-quality granite deposit that we would like to develop into a quarry. The quarry's products will be used for all types of construction, whether it's road maintenance, whether it's buildings, schools, churches, new factories, new developments. Having a quarry nearby of such high quality actually lowers costs for future development and can make the county significantly stronger. Here's something we're pretty excited to do. Our quarry directly will add about 20 jobs to the county. These are good, high-paying jobs, about $75,000 per year to $125,000 a year per job directly at the quarry. In addition to that, the revenues from our quarry will generate about $300,000 a year in tax revenue directly to the county between our property taxes and our sales taxes, because our products get taxed for sales. Furthermore, we have recently submitted an offer for $3 million to buy the county's industrial park, about 700 acres, because we want to create a platform to bring in businesses that can benefit from our products, specifically logistics companies that can take our products to markets both locally and further east, because we know there's a pretty big need for our products east of the county. And then also to bring in manufacturers that can use our raw materials to create other products like pipe and block and concrete that can benefit not only this county, but going east, because again, this deposit is somewhat unique. In addition to how these sort of benefits to the county, we want to be good neighbors. We are experienced quarry operators. We had the opportunity to bring Dia Denton and Kathy Scott up to some of our existing operations in Wisconsin, where we currently have 7 operations. How we operate is a really big deal to us. We do it with a lot of empathy for our neighbors. We showed that how we build our landscaping around it, how we isolate, how we run our operations is a really big deal. More than just how we run our company and how we will run our company here in the county, there's also over 700 examples of quarries and gravel pits operating in North Carolina every day. They are regulated at the state and the county level already, and federally, with tremendously overlapping regulations. So we are an industry that already has a lot of regulations imposed on us already. Furthermore, these operations in North Carolina are working next to all sorts of different uses, whether it's schools or churches or residences. We actually came in through Raleigh and had some meetings at a really nice resort right next to the airport in Raleigh that was right next to a quarry, like literally the very next property. So quarries can operate in very intense, very close proximity to all sorts of wonderful uses that we want to have in Halifax County. Further, like I said, we are regulated by not only state and federal, but the nature of the way that a quarry would get permitted currently in Halifax County, because it's conditional zoning and conditional use, you guys already have the legal right to impose any additional restrictions you may feel. And because of that, we're asking you to maybe reconsider the desire for a moratorium, because we would like to apply to build a quarry here. And you guys already have the ability to add regulations in that conditional use process. So we're asking that you rethink that process so that we can build a business run it for a very long time. It's a very big deposit. We think it'll be over 100 years of reserves. And then when we're all done, we'd like to leave something wonderful for the community, because like anything, there is an end date for these type of things, and it can be used as recreation, it can be used as a reservoir, it can be used for any future development, but we have examples of how we've turned the land into something very good in the future. So we think that we're the right kind of company, and we'd ask humbly that you guys would reconsider the moratorium. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. At this time, we're going to have Mr. John Cross to come up, please.
Hello, my name is John Cross. I'm one of the founders of Synergy Materials. I don't want to be redundant, and I think Hans did a nice job and covered most of the ground. One thing I would point out is that one thing I've noticed being in this business for 35 years is that quarries actually lower the operating costs and the construction costs for other companies that are trying to build up and grow. So when you look around the areas that don't have quarries, a lot of times they don't have as much growth because the costs are just so high to import those construction materials in to do the construction. So I just wanted to point out that if growth and jobs are really important to you, having a quarry in your county is I believe going to be very beneficial. So we are totally committed to being a good neighbor and working with the local community, and a lot of times we create like a community council with the people that live closest to us, and we invite them into our operations and we learn from them, and so we look forward to the opportunity. If there's anything we can do to help answer your questions or help you through this process as you're considering what to do going forward, we're available to help any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Appreciate it. Okay, anyone else?
I'd like to speak, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Please give your name and all that. We know who you are, but others may
I'm
not.
Kathy Scott, Director of Economic Development for Halifax County, and I am speaking specifically about regulations relating to mining, not in for or against any project here today. But mining, especially quarry operations, they involve potentially disruptive activities like blasting, evacuation, crushing, and heavy truck traffic. And these operations generate noise, dust, vibration, and impacts that could be incompatible with residential, agricultural, recreation, or conservation uses. And once the land is developed for quarry use, it's effectively removed from use for the future. And so, to me, the absence of clear, enforceable standards for site selection, buffering, protecting the environment, or other long-term actions leaves us vulnerable for incompatible development. So I would like to see that the county commissioners consider this moratorium as an opportunity to develop guidelines to help us move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. All right, anyone else? Last call. Anyone else want to come and speak in regards to this?
Seeing that no one has come forward, I move that the floor for comments be closed.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, we're going to item 4 on the agenda, but just before I do that, I want to recognize our house sheriff in the back, Tyree Davis. Will you stand up and raise your hand for those who don't know? Our young, handsome sheriff. Okay. And also, we have a member of the Halifax County School Board over there, too, Dr. George Lashley. Thank you for being here. And also, my good friend Mike Salonak, member of Ron Crafts Grade School Board. Thank you for being here. Do I omit any elected officials? Okay. All right. Item 4 on the agenda deals with the agenda item. Item A is the 2020 CDBG NRP Lincoln Heights Project demolition contract and optional relocation policy approval. We'll hear from Mr. Michael Scott, President of Progressive Resources, PRO Incorporated. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Nice to be with you again. Mr. Chairman, before I make any comments here, I want to recognize one of my leaders in this project, Ms. Florine Bell, back here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, she always keeps me straight.
Yeah.
She calls me weekly.
I know Reverend Dr. Florine Bell, wonderful lady.
That's right. Well, and I can't say enough good things about her. Mr. Chairman, today, the two items that we're presenting are related to the Lincoln Heights Community CDBG project that this board is of course very much aware of. The first one is a recommendation to award a demolition and asbestos abatement contract to a firm that responded recently to procurement that the county undertook back in June. We had a bid opening on July 1st. We had three highly qualified bids that came in from contractors for the demolition of two houses in Lincoln Heights and the asbestos abatement in one of those units, which has had a little bit of asbestos became positive in the testing. The recommendation, well, first, just to talk about the process just a little bit, we advertised, first of all, using direct solicitation to known demolition contractors. We advertised in the Roanoke Rapids Daily Herald, and we also used the North Carolina statewide e-procurement website to solicit bids for this project. We took extra care to check references on all three contractors, and particularly when it involves department from North Carolina or the federal agencies as far as doing work for state or federal funded projects, and all three of these contractors were qualified to do this type of work. I think you have seen a memo that lists the three contractors. The contractor that we are recommending for your consideration is Four Seasons Demolition. They're actually out of Wilmington. Their total bid was $19,200. The next lowest bid was $31,795, and then the high bid was $36,300. I just will address one thing, that it's when we opened the bids and we saw these amounts, especially the $19,200 bid from Four Seasons, that was kind of a red flag for me, because when you see that big of a gap between the low bid and the next two bids in this case, I just wanted to take extra care and make sure that that the company hadn't left something out of their bid as far as anything. So when I talked to their references, I specifically asked that question about their low bid, and they said that is what, they said that they just do it. They come in and they, typically they're low bids and their work that they do. One of them in particular was the code enforcement officer in Wilmington. They use them quite a bit for demolition work down there. And he said they're our go-to company. He said they're really good, and they do what they say they're going to do, and they can just do it for this price. And I talked to the company themselves, and I asked them specifically about that. And they said, look, you're getting a good bid. There's nothing hidden here. So I feel very comfortable that in making this recommendation to you, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. You've heard information coming from Mr. Scott in regards to the Lincoln Heights demolition contract and optional relocation policy. Any questions or comments? Vice Chair Davis, go ahead.
Just a comment. Thank you, Mr. Scott, because I had the same question, so thank you for clearing that up for us. Also, in these two properties that are for demolition,
is there anyone living in those properties now? Okay,
There
so
are
then
right now.
the relocation
That's right.
phase will go,
The two
okay.
houses we'll talk about in the relocation policy that you're being asked to consider as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Good
Okay.
question.
Commissioner Redding?
Did you all speak with anyone other than the Wilmington folks about Four Seasons demolition?
Yes, I talked to two other references.
And they,
Very, very good references on both of them. I mean, I really want to, I mean, I always do, but I really want to take care with that gap in the difference in the bids. And that's why I asked them specifically, all three references, I asked specifically about that, and then I asked the company. You know, there's no need sugarcoating stuff. I mean, you need to find out. And I felt very comfortable after I talked to them, especially after I talked to three references that backed up what they said, so.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? I got one, in reference to when we get ready to do the motion, if that's the pleasure of this board, which I feel like it will be. Are we dealing with two separate items here as far as the approval, the grant administrator and staff award there? And also we're talking about the optional relocation
Yes.
policy. We're dealing with two different
Yeah,
things,
those
right?
would be two different actions.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments? If not, what is your pleasure in regards to Mr. Scott's recommendation about his request?
The grant?
Yeah, I think we need, Vice Chair Davis, I think we need to probably do them separate, maybe.
I move for the approval of the recommendation for the grant administrator.
Okay, motion made
From the
by,
grant administrator, I'm sorry.
okay, motion made by Vice Chair Davis, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Redding. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now, we got another one to deal with.
Okay. The next thing is very much related to this project as well. As mentioned, we do have two houses in this project that are being demolished because they were just too far gone to
Right.
rehabilitation. Both of them are occupied right now. The families, they're two wonderful ladies. They're just fabulous. One's 94, one's 90. And I just love them, and we're doing everything we can to expedite this and get them into new housing. And that's specifically what the optional coverage relocation policy addresses. How do we do this? And what do they qualify for? And just kind of what's the process? Since their houses are going to be demolished, and that's what this first action was about, in fact, they're already in the process of moving out of their houses. Their families are here.
Into the newer location, or what they're doing right now?
They're going to be actually moving in with family locally. But they also receive a temporary moving expense payment that helps them offset like in storage costs or things like that. So they've already received those funds to help them with their initial moving expenses. The next thing will be the selection of of their actual new housing that will be placed back on the same lot. So they don't have to move. They don't have to move to another part of town or another community or anything like that. They're going to be right back on the same lot where they've been for probably 50 years. But they're going to be in a brand new house. And their families are very supportive and with this as well. So the optional coverage relocation benefits policy just sets forth the specifications on the type of house that they can look after, can select, that will work, the county will work directly with them in helping them select a home that will be beneficial and will work on their lot. Where the county does not dictate, here's your house, take it or leave it type thing. You work very closely with the owners, so they're very comfortable in the process and the type of housing unit that they will be able to select. They're probably going to be looking at manufactured housing, double wide, and we've got funds, modular And we're hoping that we've got the funds to do the modular units for both of them. They're just a higher quality house, and I know that I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. And so, but we will go out to get cost estimates and so forth from housing dealers in the area. Because it's still got to be a competitive type process for this selection, but it involves just more than just price. It's delivery time, it's the specifications, it's the right size, and all that goes into it. So that's what this policy just sets forth. It's the county's policy, but it's also driven by state regulations as well, as far as what you can do and the best way to do it. So if you have any questions if you've read it, I do want to point out that full disclosure here, that because everybody got a revised copy this morning, because yesterday I was reading back through it and I found an error that I had not corrected. And in a previous version of this that the county had in a previous version, and it was on the last page under the complaint procedure that is also a part of this policy, and it had the contact in there as somebody by the name of Tony Brown, who's the previous county manager, of course. And I didn't think Tony would like to have his name in there as the contact for complaint. So I did make that one change, and that's why I printed you out a fresh copy this morning.
Okay.
Sorry, Dave, we got to put you in there. So, anyway, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Vice Chair Davis,
I do have a question, and I may have overlooked it and just skimming through it last night. So at the end, when the rebuild is done, who will maintain ownership of the property? Will it be those individuals?
That's a great question.
really is.
One of the things that the county does require with the homeowner, and the homeowners know this already up front, is that they will actually, the county will take a deed of trust on this house. But they will own the house, but it'll have an 8-year deed of trust.
Okay.
8 years. So that's hardly anything, it's like a mortgage, basically. But the thing is, though, is that they make no payments whatsoever for that 8-year period. So in other words, every month they live in that house is like making a payment.
Okay.
And at the end of 8 years, that deed of trust is canceled. There's a promissory note that goes along with that. The promissory note is also canceled, and it is theirs free and clear.
Okay.
So, but that's a great question. They will own the house.
And so, and I guess, given that the individuals are elderly, I know length of life may not go that 8 years. Hopefully it will expand those 8 years, but
well,
so.
That's a matter that we consider just about every house we do.
Okay.
Maybe a little unusual to have 94 and 90, but I swear these ladies, I believe they can live longer than I do.
Well, I think it's awesome that we're able to do this and they can take advantage of this program.
But typically, and what we do is we recommend, we can't demand it, but we recommend that they really look at having their things in order with their family or whatever their heirs, ever how that works, and that, in the event, and we talk to them, and they ask us these questions, and we talk to them about that, and we say, as long as if you were to pass, and it stays in the family, if it goes to a daughter or a granddaughter, whatever the case might be, as long as it's not sold during that 8-year period, even the remaining, there's 3 years remaining. If it's not sold, then there's no, what am I looking for here, Glenn?
Default on the promissory note.
Yeah. So it's still in there. Then at the end of the 3 years that's remaining, it's still the same thing. The deed of trust is canceled.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add, we see a lot of this when we've had other natural disasters and gone through CDBG funding and that kind of thing, but the point is that the person who's receiving the assistance must occupy the home for 8 years at least. If they were to pass in the meantime, as long as it's transferred to a family member and not sold, then that same non-payment feature of this arrangement will continue to apply until the 8 years is complete.
but to make one more clarification just for the board, if they were to sell it, say 4 years down the road, they said, well, we're going to move to Florida with our daughter or something, and so we don't need this house anymore. They can sell the house. But what happens is at the end of, let's just say 4 years, at the closing, whatever's left on that 8-year mortgage, basically, is then comes out of the proceeds to repay the county. So it's just like a mortgage, basically.
Any more questions, comments? I have one, Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to get deep in the weeds. You have done more than an excellent job of covering all this. You really have. And thank you so much for all your hard work with this.
Thank Christina.
Yeah, and Christina. Don't want to get deep in the weeds, but I know how people 90 and 94 years old operate. I know my wife helped a lady in Roanoke Rapids with a new house that they got through Roanoke Rapids City Council. And there's certain things that they want. Now, like a porch, things like that. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with it, but all those needs met. I know they would like to, sit out on the front porch, things like that. Is that a possibility?
That's in the specs.
Okay.
Screened in front porch.
Okay, all right, okay. I must overlook.
And every one of them.
Okay.
And I want them to have it.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Scott. All right, at this time, approve the optional relocation policy. What is your pleasure? So moved. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Redd and second by Commissioner Silver. Is that all right? Because y'all about the same time.
We're buddies, so it's okay.
Y'all get along, right? Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, very good. Thank you again, Ms. Scott. And appreciate you being here too, Doctor. All right, at this time, we're going to move to the action of the public hearing. Program year 2025 Shawano Area Housing Consortium annual action plan. Now, Ms. Leah, do you mind coming back up and do you have anything you want to add to that before we commissioners take action on that?
I will just note that this 2025 is your third year of funding. So we are, just as an update, in the process of executing agreements for your first year of funding. And each year there's a breakdown of how the funding will be allocated. So there's different pieces like increasing affordable home buyer opportunities, increasing availability of quality affordable rental housing, there's owner-occupied housing rehab, and then increasing capacity of local housing providers. You can do purchase assistance for first-time home buyers, and then there's program admin. So your funds are being used for a variety of strategies to increase affordable housing throughout the region. And if the board has any questions or wants any more details, we're always happy to give an update or provide a written report as well. The total amount of funds for program year that you're submitting the annual action plan for is $631,172.
Okay. Ms. Wells, I probably want to involve you in this question too. I know we cover 5 counties and about 39 municipalities, something like 38. Right, 38 or 39. Is there any way we can revisit that one we don't cover? I think it's Seaboard.
It's down the Seaboard, and I can work with Derek Bennett, who's my primary contact in Northampton County. We can bring them on.
Right.
That's possible. So we can work with them and see if they would like to join in.
And I know they're going to have new leadership going forward after the election because some of the incumbents decide not to seek re-election, so that may be an issue too. I'm not sure, I'm just pointing it out. Just trying to get 39 out of 39.
We came really close.
Yeah, okay. All right, with that being said, any questions or comments, commissioners?
I move to approve the program year 2025 for the Sherman Oak Area Housing Consortium Annual Action Plan.
Okay, motion been made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you being here and appreciate all that you do.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the proposed 60-day moratorium development approval for mining. Attorney Rollins, any thing you want to say before we take a look at that?
Just in your agenda packet, the proposed ordinance is there. I don't know if you want me to comment on any of the public comment during the legislative hearing or not, but if you have questions, I'll be glad to take those. I see my friend Chris Roundtree is in the back of the room too, and you may have questions for him. I will say this, that there was a remark made which is accurate, and that is that at the present time, as I mentioned earlier, the only provision we have for quarry activities or mining activities is in the residential agricultural district. No other zoning district in the county permits that kind of activity or use. And there's no definition of what is mining or what are quarry activities, and no other details about development regulation, that sort of thing. So what that means is those two things are permitted uses in the residential agricultural district, which means they go to the Board of Adjustment for special use permit, what we used to call conditional use permits before Chapter 160D. And in that instance, the Board of Adjustment is left to their usual standards that are statutory and defined by case law about what they have to consider in terms of what conditions there are going to be on a conditional use permit. They don't have any guidance from this board in terms of our zoning regulation or anything else. They're more or less left on their own devices to figure out what needs to happen when this kind of activity comes to the county. I'm not saying they're not capable of that. They're very, it's a very good board. They're very experienced. But the suggestion from staff is that we probably ought to do them the favor of having some specific developmental standards and regulations for this kind of activity, much in the way that we did with our solar ordinance when we developed supplemental regulations for that. And some years ago, you recall, we also did the same thing for electronic gaming activities in the county. The same type of situation. So that's our staff's thinking behind this. If you have other questions, I'd be glad to take them, but otherwise, we're just ask you all to discuss among yourselves about whether to adopt the ordinance for a 60-day moratorium on development approvals for mining.
Mr. Chris Roundtree, do you have anything you want to add?
I think Mr. Rollins covered it pretty well.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
I would just like to say, I would like to thank the gentlemen for coming today and introducing yourselves to us and sharing a little bit about your history and your company's plans. I heard some good things in it, but I think it would be fair for our citizens also to take some time to understand what we're looking into, because as a research, we don't have much that talks about mining, and just maybe taking this time to learn some information and come up with some policies and procedures that will better help us grow and be open to different types of industries coming into our area.
Okay, all right. Anyone else?
I just want to say I'm glad to hear you talk about plans, expansion, and growth. I think we want to make sure we get it right, so if moving forward, we'll have it right and no regrets.
Okay.
And I would just add, are you all able, well, thank you all again for coming as well, are you all able to provide us with an assessment of what you shared in written form so we can take that into consideration moving forward.
Okay. All right. Okay, what is your pleasure in regards to the proposed 60-day moratorium on development approval for mining?
I move for approval of the 60-day moratorium development.
All right, motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk, let the record so reflect that that vote is unanimous. And thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay if you'd like. We will move to the next item, which is the item A, the Rock Rapids Graded School District Proposed Needs-Based Public School Funding Application. We have the superintendent here, Dr. Julia Thompson, and also Mr. Salinak, and also I think head of her maintenance and operations. Okay?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Julie Thompson, Superintendent of Roanoke Rapids Graded School District.
And I'm Robbie Clemens, Director of Facilities and Operations.
Chairman Bryant and Commissioners, we want to start by thanking you for your continued partnership and support of our schools in Roanoke Rapids, Roanoke Rapids Graded School District. As well as thank you for the opportunity to come this morning and present our proposal. As Chairman Bryant said, we're also grateful to be joined today by Mr. Mike Salinak, one of our board members. This morning, we're requesting your support, approval to submit, and if awarded, agreement to pay the required local match for the fiscal year 2025-26 needs-based public school capital fund grant application. Halifax County has been awarded 2 needs-based public school capital fund grants previously, which have funded a new grades 6 through 12 school in Weldon City Schools and a new grades K through 8 school in Halifax County Schools. This grant is a significant opportunity to secure funding from the state for a new school in Roanoke Rapids Graded School District. The needs-based public school capital fund is state-funded via the North Carolina Education Lottery. Maximum amounts of grants differ based on the type of school, whether elementary, middle, or high. Local match requirements are determined based on assessed real estate value, sales assessment ratio, and adjusted market value. Last year's grant cycle allowed for up to $42 million for a new elementary school, up to $52 million for a new middle school, and up to $62 million for a new high school. Last year, Halifax County will be required to make a 5% local match if awarded. Last year, 122 applications were submitted for this grant. Only 7 were funded. When we began preparing this year's grant application in the spring, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, or NCDPI, informed us that the official application dates for the 2025-26 cycle would be announced after the state budget was finalized later this summer. With building costs continuing to rise, we were hopeful that the maximum grant amounts would increase as they have in past cycles. Working from last year's timeline as a guide, we took proactive steps. We met with the county staff in early summer, received our Board of Education approval in July, and scheduled to attend today's meeting so that we would be ready to submit the application promptly if approved today. We will transfer information from our current application to the new one, as well as address any new questions once the application is released from NCDPI. Although the full state budget is still pending, last week the General Assembly passed House Bill 125, a mini budget that allocates $258.2 million for the needs-based public school capital fund in both the 25-26 and 26-27 fiscal years. The bill has been sent to the governor, and it indicates strong legislative support for continuing this critical funding. Facility planning is one of the most important responsibilities that school districts and county commissioners share. Construction costs have risen dramatically in recent years due to inflation, labor shortages, and material pricing. Unfortunately, local revenues have not kept pace. That means every year we delay a necessary project, it becomes significantly more expensive to do the same work. Our goal is to be wise stewards of public resources by planning proactively and not reactively. By aligning our local needs with available state grants like the Needs-Based Public School Capital Fund, we can maximize outside funding, minimize the burden on taxpayers, and ensure our facilities support modern, safe, and effective learning environments for many years to come. School construction projects are long-term investments in the future of our community. We have worked diligently over the past 3 years to try to secure a needs-based public school capital fund grant to replace our aging Claire Hearn Pre-Kindergarten Center. Our vision is building a new pre-kindergarten center connected to the campus of Manning Elementary School in order to provide universal preschool access for all students in our school district. A summary of our advanced planning for that project is on the left side of the screen. We continue to believe in that dream. For the past 3 years, however, we have applied for this grant, but the project was not funded. We've worked closely with NCDPI and Smith Senate Architecture to craft the most competitive grant application possible. Last year, we received feedback based on the state scoring rubric. As shown on the right side of the screen, we earned full points in 2 key areas, but fell short in 2 others. In discussions with Halifax County staff, a new idea emerged: pursue a grant for a new middle school. By adjusting the focus of our application, we can align more fully with the rubric criteria, which puts us in a stronger position to earn maximum points across all categories. This shift addresses several needs at once. Challoner Middle School, built in 1955, is undersized, and it has $6 million plus of deferred maintenance costs. Building a new middle school provides modern learning environments, which are needed for student engagement and safety, and will eliminate modular units and provide labs and spaces for STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math. Grades 6 through 8 are a required part of school, whereas pre-kindergarten is not compulsory. With only I'm really giving you something to talk about today. How about 11? With only 11.6 acres, as opposed to the 22.8 acres that NCDPI recommends for middle schools, Challoner has limited space for parent pickup and drop-off, which causes significant traffic congestion on Virginia Avenue and requires regular support from the Roanoke Rapids Police for traffic control. Last year, we worked extensively with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for their assistance with the traffic situation at both Belmont Elementary School and Challoner Middle School. Traffic studies were conducted at both schools, which showed that we have over 1/3 of our students being dropped off by parents in the morning in Challoner, as well as all 12 of our school buses dropping off students in the morning. Right now, NCDOT is at Belmont Elementary School making changes to improve our traffic queue for this year and to make sure that student drop-off and pickup is safer for our students, families, and our community driving along Bowling Road. When the Belmont Elementary project is completed, the North Carolina Department of Transportation will consider changes at Challoner as well. By building a new 2-story middle school for 700 students, expandable to 850 on land already owned by the Board of Education behind Belmont Elementary School, we can strategically consolidate programs and later renovate the Challoner facility to house programs from other school buildings. This new plan directly aligns with key elements of the Needs-Based Public School Capital Fund rubric, including new construction, critical facility needs, and strategic use of existing space, greatly improving our chances of receiving state funding while planning wisely for the future. On the screen, you can see the Belmont Elementary School property that our Board of Education owns. It stretches from Bowling Road at the top down to Craig Street, which runs into 10th Street across from the Creekside Court Apartments. Belmont Elementary faces Bowling Road and is located where the Gold Star is in the top portion of the property. Currently, we have a practice soccer field where the Blue Star is, that's located on the lower portion of the property that's accessible by Craig Street. The district also owns the property with the blue plus sign between Belmont Elementary's playground and a mobile home community. Our proposal is to build the new middle school in the area that is marked with the blue star. The building would face Craig Street, which is where traffic will enter and exit the school. The new school will not share traffic or bus queues with Belmont Elementary School. This proposal is about more than just building a new middle school. It's about making smart, long-range decisions that will benefit students, families, and taxpayers for generations to come. Work to complete some advanced planning with architects from Smith Senate. Based on the current prices, a traditional middle school built for 700 students would cost $63,248,441. This estimate includes inflation, contingency, and owner's reserve. As of today, since the state has still not passed the budget, and we did not have the grant amount yet, we wanted to note that if the maximum amount of the grant remains at $52 million or less, then we'll work with Smith Senate again, and our requested amount could be reduced by lowering the number of students the building is designed for to 650 students instead of 700. This would drop the cost to $47,449,632. While we do prefer to have a building designed for 700 students, we would change the plans in order to keep the total amount at or below the maximum amount of grant funding. The amount of local funding needed for the 5% match would be between $2.3 million and $3.1 million. As of last year's cost, an application requesting the 5% match for a grant in either one of those two options would be between $2.3 million and $3.1 million. For the $52 million that we had last year, it would require $2.6 million, as was put in your packet for a local match. The architects from Smith Senate created these documents of planned costs based on the middle school designed for 700 students. This slide shows our estimated project timeline based on the advanced planning conducted with Smith Senate. The grant application should open in fall 2025. If we were awarded construction, our anticipated bid date would be August 1st, 2026. Then construction would begin October 1st, 2026, with a target completion date of July 1st, 2028. No construction begins until award and plans are approved by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. This slide shows the concept site map for the new middle school. Since all students in grades 6 through 8 attend one school, all of Roanoke Rapids graded school districts, over 2,650 students will be impacted by this investment. If we are awarded the grant, all available funds will be dedicated to constructing the new middle school. Once that project is complete, we will pursue additional funding to renovate and reconfigure the current Challoner building for future use. Our early concept is to create separate, secure, and developmentally appropriate spaces within the existing building to serve different student populations. For example, Clarenheim Pre-Kindergarten could move into the current 6th grade wing, which will be renovated to include dedicated entrances and in-classroom restrooms and secure access control. The ACES Alternative Program could occupy a completely separate area, the current 7th grade wing at the opposite end of the building, with its own controlled access and separate entrance. The middle wing could be used for specialized instructional services. Any transition would be designed with student safety, clear physical separation, and age-appropriate facilities as its top priorities. This approach allows us to improve outcomes for all age groups and maximize existing space while ensuring each program has the structure and security it needs to operate independently and effectively. Both pre-K and ACES students will benefit from upgrades at the current Challoner campus. We ask you to approve the submission of the Needs-Based Public School Capital Fund grant on behalf of Roanoke Rapids Graded School District, commit to the required local match if awarded, and partner with us as we continue advocating for high-quality learning environments for all students. Once NCDPI opens the fiscal year 25-26 grant cycle, we will finalize and submit the application if approved today. We would adjust student capacity and costs based on NCDPI's final grant award, and our architect is prepared to maximize scope based on state funding. Again, this is a long-term investment in student success, economic development, and community strength. We welcome your questions, and thank you for your time and consideration this morning.
Okay, Commissioners, you've heard the information coming from Roanoke Rapids Graded School District Superintendent Dr. Thompson. Any questions or comments?
I would just like to say thank you for your clarity and delivery of the information. Great, about how the process worked.
And I want to echo that too, and also I had some concerns about, we've been dealing with the Claire Hearn situation, now you transition over to the middle school, and I understand how all that works, you explained it very well. Okay, any other questions or comments? Commissioner Silver?
Did you say 1955?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, seemed like you were overdue. It seemed like your school was overdue, school.
Thank you, Mr. Silver.
And one more question. So the funding, if granted and the middle school is built, the funding for the renovations and the updates to the old Chandler Middle School, where will that funding come from? Have you discussed that?
That's a good question.
We're hoping we'll be able to use the repair and renovation funds, our capital funds. We try to make that work with existing funding that we're receiving now.
And a question for Dia, I think this was the same question I had for our other two school systems when I first came aboard. Where would our match come from?
So the local match, assuming the grant information is the same as it has been in previous cycles, would be a 5% match. You cannot use lottery funds for those. They have to be local funds. So that would come from your general fund, ideally fund balance. And you do have adequate cash flow in your fund balance for that. What Mr. Clemens was referring to for the other projects, there's their lottery funding that they have available, plus a different pot of funding called repair and renovation. But we cannot pull from those funds for this grant.
Turner Roberts. I wanted to be clear, I want to be clear and the board to be clear about the 5% match, because as I understand it, at this time, we don't exactly know what that might be, because we don't know what might be available from the needs-based fund. So I'm not sure exactly what the board wants to do about approving how much money is to be allocated for the match. And I don't know whether we need to come back once we know more about what the actual, if the grant's awarded and that sort of thing. On the other hand, I assume the grant application has some certification that the county is going to do that match. So on one hand, you're being asked to approve a 5% match. You just don't know what that is yet. I just wanted to point that out. I don't have a problem with you approving a 5% match. It's just that you don't know what that figure is going to be until we know more about the outcome of the grant application. But I suppose it wouldn't be any more than you've stated in here, $2.6 million, which is based on an assumption of a total cost of $63,248,000. Okay.
2.6. The 2.6 million is based on last year's amount of 52 million.
Right.
So that's why, during one of my tongue ties today, between the 2.3 million and the 3.1, if it were the full 63 million, it would be the 3.1.
Okay.
If it stays the same place and based on the 258, my guess is it will stay at the $52 million. We would have to drop back to the school built for 650 students, so we'd be no more than 2.6.
So the 5% would be near 2.6 based on what the current previous awards were.
Correct.
So we're going a little bit ahead of schedule because the application is not posted yet. But if you remember from previous applications, there's sometimes not a very long application period. Right. And so they were trying to get ahead of the game in case there's a timing issue. Right. So just to be aware of that, we will certainly bring back that information based on whatever you decide today.
And I don't want this application to be short on what we need to have any doubt about the board's commitment to that 5% funding. That's my concern. We want to be clear to DPI that the board is all in on this. We just don't know what all in means in terms of a dollar figure. I'm not that familiar with the application. You two are, and I just assume that we'll be co-signing this, and they want to know that there's not going to be some We're not going to come back in October and say, we need 3.5 million, and then have a hiccup. I don't know how to get around that, but I'm just saying it needs to be, we need to be clear.
Would you consider a do not exceed?
Right, I was going to suggest if the board would like to consider do not exceed, for example, the 3.1 was the top end of your estimate for the local match. If you would like to approve up to that amount, that would give staff the ability to go ahead and submit, and then we would bring back to you the full packet of information once the application is posted.
Commissioner, I think that's a great idea. What the county manager just said. What do y'all think? Okay, can I get a motion to that effect? So moved. Okay, motion made by...
Not to exceed 3.1 million.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair, by Commissioner Silver. Also, he put in the motion about not to exceed that amount of 3.1, right? 3 million. Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. All right, we're going to hear from Sheriff Davis about his Sheriff's Office and Detention Center annual report, and then we're going to take a break after that. Sheriff Davis.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I hate that you mentioned the break after me.
I figured we need a rest after you, but anyway, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so the first time I done a meeting, I took almost 2 hours. And then I got a phone call afterwards and was like, Sheriff, can you shorten it up for us and everything else? So last year was probably, about 25 minutes. So I'm going to try to do a little shorter this year so I can keep it into... so I won't mess up the break. How about that?
All right.
So the first year I talked about everybody with Sheriff's Office, all the units, overall crime, everything else. Well, this year and last year, I wanted to just talk about different units at the Sheriff's Office instead of the entire Sheriff's Office. So this year I decided to talk about our Civil Division. And if y'all don't mind, and I know it's going to give whoever's working the camera a hard time, but I like to move around. I don't want to stay in here, so camera person, get ready. So here in our Civil Division at Sheriff's Office is a 4-man team, and they do a lot of stuff with this 4-man team, and I wanted to punch out some of the numbers. So last year we done 1,277 record validations through NCIC. And what that is, if somebody enters something that's stolen or missing or wanted or something of that nature, it goes into a national database. And this national database, for them to have a system of checks and balances, the law enforcement is doing what they're supposed to do by putting people in, or units, or things, or cars in, and taking them out when they're supposed to. They send you like an audit every month, a quick audit where they send you 30, 40, 50 things you can check to make sure it's still up to date and in the system, or whether you remove it, kept it in it. So we do an average of 106 validations every month here out of 1,277 totals throughout the year. And that includes like boats and stolen and lost firearms and cars and license plates and missing persons. We still in Halifax County, and I'm talking about the county part, not the municipality. In Halifax County, we still have 2 people that are listed in our system as missing. Has been missing for some time, and they send every year to validate those. Domestic violence protection orders, they send those out to make sure you still up those and make sure they're still valid. Like I said, vehicles, they'll send out random check for sex offenders that are listed to make sure you're going out checking sex offenders to make sure they're still listed in the system as sex offenders. Also, this may change next year. We validated, or we didn't validate, we issued 770 concealed weapons permits. So that's an average of 64 a month. Then we have some months are lower, some are higher. The numbers, we had 231 new ones last year, 519 renewals, 5 duplicates because somebody lost their information, and then we had 15 address changes when somebody moved out of the county and no longer needed it here. Why I say that may change is because you look into the legislature, they're trying to, well, I'm not going to say what they're trying to do, they're voting on whether to keep concealed carry permits or whether to do away with it. The vote is later on this month to decide what they're going to do. If you notice in 2023, they've done away with Christian purchase permits that were done at the Sheriff's Office. And this is one of the things we also do at the Sheriff's Office with concealed weapons permits. And that may stay or that may be done away with. and they're checking on that later on this month, so gonna decide on it later on this month on what we're gonna have with that. So that's up to them, not up to me. We'll do our job as appropriate when they decide on it. But we sent out a total of 866 permit renewals, and that's the average of 72 a month. Everybody that we sent out letters to did not renew their permits. Some, unfortunately, some people died. You know, some people decide they don't need it anymore. Some people move out of the county. If they do away with needing the concealed carry permit, I still ask people to still come and get them because it's only good for the state of North Carolina. So if they do away with concealed weapons permit, as long as you're in the state of North Carolina, you're fine. We're too close to Virginia for you to chance it, because you're driving around North Carolina, then you're gonna blow into Virginia, and you're gonna, you may carry concealed and end up getting charged there because you don't have your North Carolina concealed carry permit. So I still ask people to come and get them just in case, because sometimes we can get complacent, leave it in our vehicles, carry it on us because we're used to it, and then we run over to Virginia and end up getting, in trouble behind it. We maintain roughly, and I say roughly, because the numbers go up and down this way, 145 sex offender records here in Oakland. Some of those people are in our local jail, some are in the community, some are at, I can still call it California prison, still out at the prison, that we still, Roanoke River Corrections, that we have to maintain, that we keep records of, and out of our sex offenders, we actually check our sex offenders that are not in jail or not in prison every month. So this 4-man team, one of the members go out every month and check all of our sex offenders. They just check, make sure that them and that their addresses that they say they are, make sure that the information is updated and things of that nature. Most agencies check it once a quarter. By law, we don't have to check it at all. But we still go out and check it just to maintain that and ensure another safety part of our community. So, this unit was issued 3,855 civil papers total. Out of those 3,855, they served a total of 2,790. Some of those were not served because we couldn't find people to serve it on. Some of them were not served because it's like risks of possession with, I'm going to say a furniture company, our car dealership want us to take back some furniture or take back a vehicle, and then we get there, a person calls up, find out this paper is outstanding, and they call and pay the bills and everything else, and they say, hey, don't serve it, return it, we're going to allow them to keep it. So that's why some of us not serving it, like I said, some of us just because we can't find the people to serve it on. But if they do away with concealed carry, because that's what my unit has asked me to share, if they do away with concealed carry, are you going to move us to the road, are you going to move us to court, are you going to move us wherever? Well, they still have a boatload of other things that they do other than concealed carry that will keep them in that unit. But when they done away with, and they asked me, because when they done away with pistol purchase permits, I moved somebody out there. Because pistol purchase permits was a large portion of what they did in there at the time with the 5-man team. So I moved somebody out there so it'd be more cost effective and efficient for the county and use our people in better spots than just sitting there, and I don't want to say doing nothing, but sitting there not working efficient as we need them to work. So that is my report on the civil unit, but I want to talk about something else right quick. We have National Night Out coming. So National Night Out is tomorrow. One of the police department, the police department, Halifax County Sheriff's Office, we're all partnering together to go to the center, Dr. Irv Griffin Center at Halifax Community College. We will be there from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We're also sending that Hollister has their second National Night Out. We're sending somebody over to Hollister, and if you know where the powwow is, that's where it is. I can give you the address, but if I say where the hell the powwow, people know where that is. So we will be there. That goes from 4 to 6. So we'll be at both locations, so come out, show some support. This is a great opportunity. We do a lot of community-facing events, but this is a great opportunity for you to get to know a lot more of your law enforcement personnel, because they're going to come out to these events, because a lot of our agencies can, here in Halifax County, a lot of them do community events, but this is a great time throughout the country, and it's sad that you have to have a national night out for the community, your law enforcement officers, but this is the time when everybody comes out and see each other. The last thing I want to mention is the reduction in overall violent crime. So a study came out, or actually I was contacted by the media a couple of months ago and said, Sheriff, do you know that overall the violent crime in Halifax County went down? And then, of course, I said, yeah, I know, because we do our thing, you know, that's what we're here for. But, and that's kind of, I didn't know the numbers. So I wouldn't start putting some of the numbers out there. They mentioned that when I expected the media to run stories, so I was waiting on the numbers, but they didn't. But the national average for violent crime reduction in the United States is 3%. We've had, I was sent a video over the weekend from another sheriff who's doing something for his community. And he put on his video as a selling point that since he's become sheriff, their crime was reduced by 2%. And this is in 2023 because numbers come out different. You can't get a 2025 number, 2024. It takes a while for them to compose all the data and what come out. So right now, the latest numbers are 2023 come out. It was about 2%. Well, I started looking at other counties around us, and I'm not going to tell you their numbers because that's up for them to do, but the national average is 3. That sheriff was bragging about he reduced about 2, and our number is 10%. So our violent crime rate in Halifax County has went down by 10% in 2023 than the previous year, 2022. It just shows a great team that we have here at Sheriff's Office, great leadership, and not only that, it's Halifax County. So it shows great leadership and teamwork we have with other municipalities throughout the county, helping them with our teams coming together. And this is reduction. Now, we can't solve every crime. We have missing people. We have murders that we have not solved. We have break-ins that we have not solved. But the reduction of violent crime, that means that we have deterred or stopped crime from happening. And that's what we try to do. And a lot of it, because I mentioned the number of people, that, and I hate to use the word targeting law enforcement, because I have an attorney right here, and targeting is not a good word in law enforcement, but we target you. If you are causing chaos and havoc in our communities, we target you, we find out who you are, we build a strong case against you, and we send you to federal prison. So a lot of our people that have been caught in shots, whether it's murders, whether it's robberies, whether it's rapes, gang violence, and we have targeted them, we built cases against them, we work our partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they are in federal custody. Some of them have pled guilty, some of them are waiting on trial or pleas, and some of them don't even know we have their name on the list, and we will be picking them up in the months to come. So if y'all have any questions, I'm here to answer these questions, but hopefully, Ms. D, that cut it much, much shorter, and people can go over it.
Sheriff, thank you so much for all that you do. Any questions or comments of the sheriff? Okay. I do want to say congratulations to you for being selected as one of the few sheriffs in the U.S. going to FBI school. And so congratulations on that. We're mighty proud of you. And also, too, I just want to emphasize your night out for Roanoke Rapids and for Hollister. You know, I'm sure folks are listening, and RSBN is doing his thing, and the Daily Herald, and people are listening to us live stream, but they need to take advantage of that, those two events. That's real important. But anyway, Commissioner Redding.
I wanted to thank Sheriff Davis for coming out to the Scotland Act Leadership Elementary Academy to do a demonstration with his deputies for the young people for Career Day. And our man over there, Mr. Everett, also came out as well for Career Day. So thank you.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Commissioner Red. And this time, unless there are some further comments, we need to accept the Sheriff's Office's attention annual report. You know, he does it every year. We need to accept his report. Can I get a motion for that?
I move for acceptance of the sheriff's annual report.
Okay, motion made by Vice Sheriff Davis. Is there a second? Second. Second, Commissioner Redding. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. It's, let's be back at 10 after 11. Roundtree. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and board members. This morning, we're looking for some appointments for our steering committee to assist with our comprehensive development plan update. These appointees were designated by your board as other members of designated staff and other boards helped us come up with this list. Ideally, these members were selected to be the commitment and knowledge of the county, its challenges and opportunities. Attached, you have just an overview of the steering committee role. We have a draft project schedule for our comp plan update, and then our master list of the steering committee appointments. We're asking for your approval on this morning.
Okay, you've heard the information coming from Mr. Roundtree. Just as a sort of like footnote, you have a list of the people on the Comprehensive Development Plan Steering Committee. I do want to note that we have two commissioners, our Vice Chair, Shanoa Davis, and Commissioner Thomas Barrett will serve on that, representing the board. And you can see the list of other individuals that serve it on now. We even have from the Commissioner James Pierce. He represents the Center for Image Education. But he's going to be on there along with a host of other folks, and I think that's a very good committee. Stewart Engineering is going to be the consultant with that. So I guess with that being said, Ms. Denton and Mr. Roundtree, I guess we need a motion for the approval of that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll so entertain a motion for the approval of that committee. Also, try to use a diverse population, throughout the whole county, as well as racial, ethnic, and everything else. Okay. With that being said, can I get a motion?
Let them have it since I'm on the...
Okay, all right.
So we have a motion to approve the Comprehensive Development Plan Steering Committee.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Red. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Roundtree. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, item D, Asset Inventory and Assessment Grant Resolution, Water. We hear from our Public Utilities Director, Mr. Chris Williams.
Good morning.
So we included information in your packets. The county had made applications through Green Engineering for a $150,000 grant amount with the state's Department of Water Infrastructure. This will be focusing on the water side of our public utilities department. We are in the process of wrapping up and closing out our sewer asset inventory and assessment, and now are able to move into assessing the water side of things. So these funds have been awarded. This resolution would be this board's acceptance of those funds, which allows us to begin the process of actually performing the work. There is a $5,250 match, which Public Utilities has included in their budget for fiscal year 25-26. So we've got those funds covered. So we ask for your consideration and adoption of this resolution to be able to accept those funds and then initiate the project. Any questions?
So this is about just a study of what we're doing currently with our water system
Yes, ma'am.
and what we need to improve?
What it will do is it will be an inventory, so confirming that the things that we think we do have, and they're located where we say they're located. It will also pull together any private development extensions that have been done that were not incorporated into our engineering group's documents. It gathers that information, and it also helps us to develop a capital improvement plan let's say they identify a pump station that is in worse shape than we thought it was in, then that gets moved up on our priority list, that sort of thing. So it helps us kind of do some proactive and preventive maintenance rather than reactive maintenance, which always costs more.
Okay.
Mr. Williams, can you talk about that? Is it PFAS that's in water? What's it?
So that is what the state has termed that is a emerging contaminant.
Okay. Is that PFAS? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
PFAS, PFOS.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a really long scientific name, poly and perfluorinated alkyl substances.
Okay.
PFAS and PFOS is much easier to say.
Mr. Williams, you're way up on my head there right now.
That's why I said it real fast, so if I messed it up, everybody will catch it. It's a chemical compound. It's been around for a long time, and because of the good chemical engineering that they did when they created it, it's going to be around for a long time as well. And so that is something that has been identified as a potential issue. EPA has set some limits of concern, and so they're kind of in the studying and monitoring phase, but we in the water industry are trying to get ahead of the curve on that, in that it will need to be removed from drinking water and addressed, similar to what we went through with lead and mercury
Right.
and copper back in the 70s and early 80s.
Do we have concerns in this county?
There have been, we have all of the water districts have submitted water testing. Halifax County is actually in the third round of testing within our system. Sanitary District and Weldon already tested their system. And there were some hits at or below what EPA thinks they'll have for action levels. So, yes.
Okay.
I believe that it will be a concern and something that we'll have to work together to get out through the water treatment plant facilities.
Thank you for that. Yes, sir. Commissioner Reddy. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Last week I attended a 4-day economic development course at UNC Chapel Hill's School of Government. Will this assessment help us to also assess whether expansion is possible for economic development purposes?
So, in all of our grant applications for funding for infrastructure projects, whether it be pump stations, expansions, extensions, replacements, that sort of thing, in that rubric, it's always asked, have you done an AIA, which, we love the acronyms, right? Asset Inventory and Assessment. Have you done the AIA, and do you have a capital improvement plan? And so these funds will enable us to update the capital improvement plan and say, yes, our most recent AIA is 2026. So yes, it lays the foundation for us to access funding and that sort of thing. Thank you. Yes,
Chris.
yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner
That
Silver.
PFAS you talking about for us country lay folks like me, that's the fiber plastic they're talking about, right? Is that similar to that?
It was a component in Teflon, and it's also used and found in some firefighting foams and those sorts of things. And that's a few of the things that it's found in. I mean, it was used in a number of things, but that's the majority that it has been tied to that we know is a common household accessible item.
Okay. And one question on it, you said something about a grant. What would that money actually be used for in that grant?
So these funds, the $150,000 plus our $5250.
Which is already in the budget, right?
These funds will be used to perform that inventory and assessment of the assets that we currently have on our water side of public utilities. So they'll be looking at pump stations, valve locations, meter pits, pressure reducing valves, our water towers, our infrastructure that we just added with the metering technology, SCADA systems, what we've got, where it's at, it is where we say that it's supposed to be, and what condition it's in. Are we going to need to replace it next year, 5 years, 10 years, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've heard information coming from Mr. Williams. Any further questions or comments? If not, we still need a motion for the request of Board of Commissioners to approve the asset inventory and assessment resolution to accept the grant funds.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Davis, second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, next item. He will be busy here for the next two items. Item E is the resolution to transfer additional funds to capital reserve. Attorney Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It sort of ties into what Chris mentioned just a moment ago about capital improvement plans, but related to that is the action this board took a couple of years ago to develop a capital reserve fund. And as part of that, I have a couple of proposals here, actually a resolution to add money to the capital reserve fund. Back in April of this year, during your budget discussions, at the request of the county manager, you approved the transfer of $1.1 million from fund balance to the capital reserve fund for parks and recreation facilities. You may recall that this was what we call ARPA-enabled funds. We were reserving that, as I recall, for broadband projects, which we're fully funded at now under ARPA. So it was moved, I think, at the end of last year, I think sometime in December, I believe, Mary, it was, that we transferred that money from ARPA to general fund. And then in April, in discussing Parks and Recreation, you approved appropriating that money to capital reserve for parks and recreation facilities. In addition to that, in the adoption of your budget ordinance last month, not last month, we're already out, back in June. Wow. It does. You also appropriated $100,000 to capital reserve just for public buildings generally. So attached are a couple of things. One, to bring you up to date as of July 20th, a summary of what's now in the capital reserve fund, not counting the money we're proposing that you transfer today. There's a summary there to show you what the history of capital reserve has been since its inception back in fiscal year 22-23 up to July 20, and we have a total now in capital reserve of $8,493,797.14. The next attachment is also more detail on the capital reserve fund with respect to showing you for what different purposes you're now holding funds in capital reserve. And there's a breakdown there. I won't go through in detail that. I will remind the board that you at any time can change the capital, you can change the purpose for which you're holding capital reserve funds. I'm not suggesting you do this, but for example, if you wanted to move money out of the item that says county vehicles and school bus garage, you could, by your own action, move that to a different purpose, whether it be public buildings generally or to school facilities. You have that flexibility, but for now, this is where you have indicated you want this money held and for what purpose. Do you have any question about that before I go to the resolution itself? I think you're used to seeing this now at least once a year, sometimes more often if we do something. Finally then, what's attached is a resolution to transfer additional funds to Halifax County Capital Reserve Fund. The recitals there are basically what I've already laid out for you about what your actions were in April and in budget adoption. This resolution will allocate an additional a total of $1.2 million from general fund to the capital reserve fund, 1.1 million for parks and recreation facilities, 100,000 going to additional funds for public buildings. So unless there are any questions, I just ask that there be a motion to adopt the proposed resolution.
Okay, heard information coming from our attorney. What is your pleasure, unless you have some questions or comments?
Make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Redden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I do want to say this, Attorney Rodden, before we move to the next item. Thank you for your leadership on that, because I do recall, there may have been another commissioner involved, I can't remember who it was, but I know you took the initiative as the county attorney and gave us good advice on starting this capital reserve, and that's why we're where we are today. Well, thank you so much. You can go ahead to the next item.
Thank you, sir. The next item concerns some additional funds that are soon to be available under some settlements in the national opioid litigation. And there are actually two different things. One, you may have heard in the news that the Purdue Pharma settlement through the Purdue Pharma bankruptcy, including a settlement with the Sackler family, who are the principals in Purdue Pharma, will result in a sizable settlement that will be spread throughout the country through different states, and then the money coming to North Carolina is going to be dispersed and used by the various counties under the memorandum of agreement that we now have in place and have had in place with the AG's office for a number of years. We don't have the details on that. We're just now getting some information on that, so I can't tell you exactly how much would be coming to Halifax County over the course of the next several years under the Purdue Pharma settlement, but that's going to be available soon. The other settlement was unexpected, sort of, with some new defendants, actually, and they're all listed there in your, I won't go through the whole list, but there are some other generic manufacturers of opioids who have reached settlement in the national litigation, and similar to Purdue Pharma, those settlement documents are being distributed now to be signed, and that money that will come to Halifax County and many others across the nation will actually be distributed according to a third supplemental agreement concerning the memorandum of agreement we have with the Department of Justice. The purpose of the resolution that we're asking you to adopt now is to give either the county manager or the county attorney to execute whatever documents are necessary to participate in both of those settlements and receive the funds. And we certainly will report back to you once we know more about the details of that. But for now, to get ahead of the deadlines that are going to be approaching in September and October about these settlements, we wanted to go ahead and ask you to make that approval now so we can deal most directly with that.
Attorney Rollins, you finished?
Yes, sir.
Help me to understand this. We have now one that's over 18-year period. Now, are these two additional ones, or what it would help clear it up for me, please?
Different. It's all over the map, Mr. Chairman. Different defendants have different periods of time that they will make payments. Some of these are just making one payment, one single payment. There'll be one disbursement from them. I don't have it all in my head. Again, the details are coming, but over the next 5 to 10 years, there could be additional fund money coming in, along with the money we're already receiving on an annual basis. So there's no set period of time for each one. They're all varied, and we will certainly get that information to you as soon as we have all of the details from the settlement agreements that are being prepared now.
Okay, well, you help me understand a little bit about it. Okay. All right, anyone else? I see we got a doctoral candidate just walked in.
Yes, sir. She's taking up on that lunch offer. But I was going to ask you, Bishop, right this time.
Yes, sir.
We recognize other elected officials. We do have one that's came in. He's with the tribe, but he's elected. Yeah, but
Okay.
he wasn't here. He got recognized for.
Tell all of us his name. We know.
Tyler Richardson.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Tyler.
I was on the tribal council, and he's duly elected.
Okay. Did you have a question, Commissioner Silver of Attorney Rollins?
No, I think he did a great job, and thank him for keeping us updated.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, if not, we do need a motion in regards to the resolution that's before us. Go ahead.
I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
You did it about twice. We let him go.
Redden, okay. Commissioner Silver, I'm sorry. Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Y'all charge it to my head, not to my heart, okay? Next item, board appointments, item 7. Voluntary Agricultural District Board. The first one is receive nominations to raise the term limit and reappoint Troy Fulkerson. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. There a second? Second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now next one, I think we got to put it on hold. It says receive nomination to appoint an individual to fill the vacant position of Mike Hale. So we just need to keep that in mind about trying to find someone for the Volunteer Agricultural District Board for that one. I believe that's all the appointments.
I just want to make a comment just
Okay.
on that one. It'd be nice if we could find someone that would add some diversity to the, that committee. Just looking at some of the.
Right, and you're 100% right, you're exactly right. And maybe we just need to keep that in mind as we move around in the communities.
Could you explain a little bit more about what that, the duties of that committee would entail?
I really can't. I'm gonna defer to maybe the county manager or the deputy county manager
I'm sorry, I
or
forgot
someone who can
that.
explain, but I really can't. I know our clerk to the board, I know that Ms. Wiggins probably can explain, yeah, okay. But I don't know about Ms. Gleason. I tell you what we could have Ms. Denton to do along the lines of what you're saying is probably find the information on the Voluntary Agricultural District Board and the requirements and just email that to us. Do you mind doing that?
I'll be happy to. I don't want to misspeak. We do have some information on it back downstairs, and I'll be happy to provide that.
Okay, thank you. Good question. Okay, I think that was it, Ms. Faison, right? Okay, all right. Now we're going to move on to economic development. Ms. Scott been waiting.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to skim through this very quickly because I know I have closed session items and I have several for you, so I'm pre-warning you that I might need a little bit of your time this morning.
Okay.
But it's August 4th. Who can believe that this summer is gone, but we are here. Our economic indicators since last month, our unemployment rate ticked up to 5.4%. And it ticked up in 92 of 100 counties this past reporting cycle. So even though it's less than a year ago, we went up from 4.9% to 5.4% for the last time. That represents 990 individuals that are unemployed in Halifax County. Our building permits were just over 2.4 million, which is healthy, and retail sales just over 66,000. But in July, there were 1,187 jobs advertised in Halifax County. And looking at the top 10 job openings by industry, I can take a look at this on occasion to see where our job openings are focused. And you can see the majority in Halifax County are in the healthcare field. Retail is second at 111. Administration and then education, wholesale trade and manufacturing, they are the top 5 because wholesale trade and manufacturing generally are lumped together as far as processes are concerned. But it gives you an indication of where opportunities are for employment in the county. And we do have methods to be able to look and see who's hiring in these fields. So if anybody ever wants to see a report, just let me know. We had Secretary of Commerce Lou Lilly visit in July. He was invited by Representative Rodney Pierce. Halifax County has a long and excellent working relationship with Commerce and Commerce agencies. They've supported a lot of our projects in the past and been a partner for so many of the things that we do here in Halifax County. And then primarily the focus, Lou Lilly focused on opportunities to support a ready workforce. That's where the need and demand is currently. So new initiatives, new opportunities to look at workforce development in a different light. We participated in the Economic Empowerment Inclusion Summit. They had the best group of speakers that come to our community, but we don't get a lot of people who attend the meetings. I don't understand it. I think it has something to do with the time of day that they're held. We could figure out how to get these in conjunction like with Halifax Community College students, some of our schools and seniors, and get them. And this is done by the Southern Christian Leadership Council and some of the consultants that work with them. It's really amazing, this opportunity we have, and hopefully we can figure out a way to make this a better event in Halifax County in the future. But they had a great panel of speakers that covered everything from career development to small business development to appraisals and how that line of business is very engaging right now and opportunities for employment. And then there's this individual by the name of Kevin Kimball, who's just a tremendous speaker and mentor type individual that really is looking ahead at how to engage, especially people in lower income communities like ours, into the world of work and opportunity. I attended the first CDL class graduation at Halifax Community College. What an achievement, and this is such a great example of how Halifax Community College has identified a demand that exists in our community in workforce and created a program and had meeting that demand by employers that are here. And look at the success already. So they graduated one class, they've got another class that'll graduate in just a couple of weeks, and then they got more and more classes coming. So great program. And then this past week, we had reentry graduation. There were 10 individuals there that day that received their completion certificates for going through the reentry program. And then there were 12 additional graduates that were working and couldn't get off work to attend. But these individuals have really dedicated themselves to improving their lives, personal growth, and reintegrating themselves into the community. And if you look at that employment rate, 99%, that's pretty impactful. I think that 22 individuals, 99% of them are now employed. Hopefully you got the email about the official hotel opening on August 15th. It's been a long time coming, but it's a beautiful facility and really opening the door to a lot of development right there at that location in Weldon. This will be the last time I report on this until I tell you that it's all been funded, but we did get the final application in to the Economic Development Administration for the alternative access road for Airboss in Scotland Neck. So we've requested our federal legislative delegation to inquire and try to get some support for the project. If you see any of those, please mention this project to them. We have a new building listing in Scotland Neck. The owner has had a change in their business model. This building is now available, going to be available. And this is a 15,000 square foot multi-purpose building that could certainly be used by another business to create jobs in the town of Scotland Neck. We're continuing our efforts to support other infrastructure projects. Commissioner Reddy was talking about capacity for water and sewer is so important, but just those water and sewer lines are really important. And we've got some projects in the Premier Boulevard area that we've talked about, along with the infield to exit 154 sewer extension. While the NC 125 and Premier Boulevard extension, the sanitary district and the county have capacity to address this growth. Infield may need to look in the future at upgrades to their sewer treatment plant because of capacity issues. So certainly something we're aware of and work with them to try to move forward on. That's a number of client inquiries in July and client visits. We had some new projects to visit, plus some existing industry visits that we made in July. Lots of meetings and economic activities. It seems like June and July there was a little bit of a lull, and now it's picking back up. But noting one is North Carolina Alliance luncheon and dinner today that I'll be attending. And then we've got some opportunities, especially September 3rd, mark your calendar. Our Economic Development Board meeting, we're going to have the Hayes Consulting Group come in and do a Honors Academy for economic development, which is a really in-depth overview of economic opportunities and where we sit in the economic development world in North Carolina. So mark your calendars. Hopefully you can.
What day was that?
That's all I have.
What day was that?
September 3rd. There's a luncheon meeting that day. We're going to go ahead and get a notice out this week, but just put it on your calendar. Any questions? As I mentioned, I have several items in closed session.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Ms. Scott. Okay, now we'll hear from County Manager, Ms. Denton.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everyone. I do have 3 items on your agenda, but one just quick reminder, this was in your weekly update. This afternoon at 4:30, Halifax County school students who participated in the 100 Strong Productions Film Festival that's associated with NCACC, they will be recognized this afternoon at 4:30 at the admin offices down the road. And you are specifically invited to attend. It's also an NCACC-sponsored project, so I just want to remind you of that. It's at 4:30. The items on your agenda, mostly housekeeping type items. The first one is we have had these discussions about taking the show on the road, if you will, and holding commissioners' meetings off-site in the various communities around the county. And it was decided to hold the September 15th meeting, which is your 5:30 second meeting of the month, in the Tillery area. Back in July, a group of us went down and actually met with Mr. Doris Davis and went inside the building and kind of got the layout of the building to make sure this would be workable for your meeting. I'm happy to say it's going to work out really nicely. Your seating arrangement will be somewhat like this in the front of the room, and we have sound available. You'll have hookups available for your computers and that kind of thing. But what I request that you do is just officially take action to change your meeting location so that we can advertise it publicly and change it on our meeting schedule. And so that would be to hold your September 15th, 2025 meeting at the Tillery Community Center.
Okay, with that being said, can I get a motion to that effect? Motion made by Vice Chair Davis, there a second? Second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Thank you. The second is really an update from last month's meeting. We let you know that the town of Weldon had approached the county about performing building inspections for the town of Weldon, and staff asked that that be tabled because we were a little bit concerned about our current staff's ability to provide inspection services to the town of Weldon on top of what they already perform. After that meeting, our building inspector 2 actually submitted his resignation. So now we're down to 1, our chief building inspector. He's gone to another county, to Wake County, that we really cannot compete with. not our chief building inspector, our second building inspector. So we ask that you allow us just to communicate formally with the town of Weldon that we're not able to perform for them. They do have the option of approaching the state and having them step in, and they can also contract with individuals to perform inspections. Yes, ma'am?
And the individual that left, did he fulfill all his commitments to us? I know we invested in training probably for him.
He did. He has actually gone to a further away county that we're not able to compete with it was Wake County. I mean, we're not able to compete with that. He didn't have any pending obligations to us.
Do you need a motion from us or consensus?
What do you think, Glenn, since they did present an interlocal agreement?
I really thought about that. We don't want to sign it. I think maybe it probably would be a good idea, since they presented an interlocal agreement to us for us to provide building inspection services. I think it might be best as a formal motion to respectfully decline, because we're not able to provide that at this time, given our staffing issues.
Okay, based on that, can I get a motion? Motion by Vice Chair Davis, is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
All right, thank you. The last item is in regards to your community grants program. This is a program that started last fiscal year, and it's got $50,000 appropriated in the current year budget to fund various nonprofits, other organizations, faith-based organizations that can provide programs that the county technically could provide, but we have the option to contract with them, if you will, to provide those services. As we did with the Recreation Partners program, we'll have an application period, which is now open as of Friday, August 1st. It's now open to take applications, and we need an internal committee to just review the applications and make a recommendation to the full board, just like you did with Recreation Partners that Commissioners Redding and Silver served on. Back when you all were about to take office and we were having some transition, Chairman Bryant put together a listing, kind of divvying up, if you will, the duties. So this one actually had Commissioners Barrett and Davis listed for this committee. If that is something y'all like to move forward with, we'll just like to have that motion made. And then once the applications have come in, we'll set a meeting that's convenient for everyone's schedules and review those and make a recommendation to the full board.
Okay, with that being said, with Vice Chair Davis and Barrett as the two commissioners to serve on the Community Grants Program Selection Committee, and of course along with the county manager, county attorney, finance director, and other staff as the manager deem appropriate, can we get a motion to that effect? So moved. Motion made by Commissioner Silver, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Redding. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as Kathy mentioned, we'll have a few items for you in closed session discussion as well.
All right, very good. All right, now, the next thing, county attorney.
She'll leave a voicemail. Okay. I won't be in too much trouble, I hope.
Probably not.
Okay. Just a couple of things, and these are under the category of, can we beg off for a little bit longer on getting back to you. At your last meeting, at Mr. Barrett's motion, which passed, we did go ahead and provide a $116,000 grant with a grant agreement in place to Lake Gaston Weed Control Council. The other thing we wanted to come back to you with was some recommendations about perhaps local legislation or proposals for interlocal agreements between the 5 counties that currently participate in funding the activity of the Weed Control Council. I'm going to confess on this and the next matter that things have just come along since the July meeting have just caused this to be pushed back. So with the board's indulgence, we'll defer more information about that to your September meeting. And that just got recorded, didn't it? Okay, I'm on the hook. Okay. And one other thing that we dealt with at the last meeting was concerns raised by the Public Health Department about funds that we now hold in fund balance or general funds, and their request to have those, in quotation marks, returned, recommitted back to public health. Again, we want to come back to you in September with more information about following up on their request and what we would propose that you do in the future with respect to the different revenue sources in the Public Health Department. It's a bit complicated, and we didn't want to rush anything this time, and I asked the county manager if we could just defer that so we could deal with other things today and not be too rushed into finally dealing with that issue. And it's not something that's going to change right away anyway, and we can certainly take it up in September on a more complete basis. So that's my report to you in open session. I have nothing in closed session except I'm sort of on the side involved in economic development discussion we're going to have in closed session. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Roberts, appreciate you. Next item, we'll look at other business, and the first one is the letter regarding state assistance for the town of Enfield. Enfield is no stranger to any of us, but anyway, we sent a letter to the governor's office, to P.J. Conley, who is his Eastern Director, in regards to our concerns about Enfield, and also asking the governor's office to declare Enfield as a disaster, hoping that they'll be able to secure state funding and some other resources, not only from the state level, but from the federal level too. I mean, we all are familiar with that. You know, the letter was emailed to you. The letter is also in your packet. When we put the letter together, you know, county manager, myself, and the county attorney, you know, and also the deputy manager, you know, we decided to make sure that all parties, as you can see who's CC'd on here, we want to make sure that everyone was notified, the right people. And so that's why we very specifically sent it to all our county commissioners, county manager, Mayor Mondale Robinson, and all the commissioners in the town of Enfield, as well as the town administrator. So with that being said, need a motion to retroactively approve this letter. And by the way, I want to say this too. I want to commend this board, all the commissioners, and our staff, not just Ms. Denton and Ms. Wells, but you know, some others, managers and supervisors who worked very hard with the town of Enfield to get things done. I know Commissioner Redden went down there personally and got involved in some things, and thank you for that. And but this whole entire board, I think I talked with each one of you except for one who was on a cruise, but I did send her a text message and made her aware of what was going on. I talked with her later. But thank all of you all so much for your input. I know I've said a lot, but it just kind of needs to be said. I want the public to know that this board has been proactive with that situation in Enfield, period. Can I get a motion to that effect that we approve this letter? So moved. All right, motion made by Commissioner Silver. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. All right, Commissioner Redden, I think you're up next. You have Halifax County Junior County Commissioners Program. We want to hear from you.
Okay, just briefly, we are excited to launch the Halifax County Junior County Commissioners Club for the fall of 2025 and spring of 2026. And I was able to meet with Deputy County Manager Christina Wells, as well as Stephanie Proctor, our Halifax County 4-H Extension Agent, focused on youth development. And we have created here an informative introductory letter about the program and how it will invite local high schools to nominate 2 to 3 students who are currently in grades 9 through 12th grade, maintaining a 2.5 GPA or higher, and demonstrating a strong interest in civic engagement and leadership. And these this letter, as well as the nomination form and permission slip that's also attached to the document, will be sent to the local principals as well as superintendents, and then they will adhere to deadlines to return the letters, the nomination forms, and permission slips. In addition to those documents, we also have a tentative schedule that will start in September with 2 orientations to provide students, parents, school administrators, and others with an opportunity to learn about this pilot program and what it's all about. The program will include numerous experiences and opportunities that we believe will provide a well-rounded experience, including the students attending our meetings and doing some preliminary research prior to the meetings to learn about the process of being a county commissioner. We will also have shadowing experiences, service learning experiences, as well as a youth candidate forum that we hope will not only educate our young people about the political process, but also give them an opportunity to learn about the candidates who are running for office this year. Stephanie came up with a great idea to have a mock job interview, resume building, and professional attire workshop that we'll have in March at the 4-H World Life Center, so the students can not only learn about the importance of those processes, but also so they can learn about how this experience can be used in future job interviews or how to put it on their resume, etc. And then we will conclude with a Junior County Commissioners Club pilot program completion ceremony, which will involve the students, parents, school administrators, community leaders, and others coming out to celebrate this future accomplishment that we'll have in May. And lastly, I do want to acknowledge Commissioner Davis' plans to also be an advisor. She nudged me before the meeting. We're with my invite to the preliminary meeting, so she's also going to be joining us as an advisor, and we want to lean on her for her not only years of experience as a teacher, but school administrator, but also as a parent and commissioner who has valuable experience to help us make this program a success.
Very good. Very good, Commissioner Redden, and thank you, Vice Chair Davis, for stepping forward. With that, I think, sir?
One last point here.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you have captured it all, and I think that the schools will be very excited to get started on this program.
Right. And when she said schools, she was talking about all the schools in Halifax County. Well, it's charter.
All inclusive. Yep.
Right, yep. Did you have something that you want to say?
No,
as well?
sir.
Okay.
Excited to get going.
All right, Vice Chair Davis.
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we approve a budget?
We did. Commissioner Silver recommended we have, I think, a $1,200 budget for food and snacks and things like that.
Yearly budget? Yearly, okay.
And one more question for our great county manager. Will we have some cards, like ID cards for them,
Like these, or you mean like?
or just membership cards?
Sure, we can do that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll do that too.
I think that'll make it more efficient.
Right.
We'll try to do these if we can make that work.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Now, let me ask you that, when you said that, Ms. Denton, I'm not being critical, I'm just asking for clarification. When you do that, do they have access and get into the bill or just identification
It'd
purposes?
probably just be ID purposes.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure that we all, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right. Now, with that being said, we need to go ahead and approve the Halifax County Junior County Commissioners Pilot Program plan. I think Commissioner Redden to give you credit for that. I mean, I think that's an outstanding idea, and I appreciate you stepping up with that. Okay, with that being said, can I get a motion?
I got one thing.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion, Commissioner Redden, let me be involved with that. I'd love to be, don't have to be on the committee. Yes, but
All of us are going to be involved.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So moved on that motion, Commissioner Redden.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Silver.
Silver this time, yeah.
Right, that's right. All right. Commissioner Ray, you want to second it?
Second.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't know if there would be a conflict. I was looking at Glenn.
No, no.
Attorney Roberts.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Silver, second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Yeah, I think that's just some wonderful program, and really, when you're doing something like this, you're really thinking outside of the box to cost a little bit more work to the commissions and to staff, but it's well worth it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see, what else? Anything else on the other business?
One thing, it's not on here, but I want to bring it up, next month is to go forward building a Veterans Organization Committee for this county. Most counties have one. It would be something that shouldn't be an expense to this county, but I think will greatly help our veterans, and just so guys be thinking about that.
Okay. All right. Commissioner, I think you and I have talked about it a long time, and
Need to make it happen.
yeah, we still need to have those conversations and probably get together with the county manager and kind of move from there, okay?
Yes, sir.
One of these days. Okay, all right, with that being said, anything else? Okay, all right, at this time, can I get a motion to go into closed session? Ms. Scott?
Yes, sir.
What we're going to do in closed session, economic development?
Several economic development matters.
Okay. Okay, all right. Attorney Ross, you have something you want?
It's possible that after we don't normally go back into open session to take action. It is possible that you might have to take some action in open session following our discussions. I'll just say that for the benefit of the public.
Okay. Ms. Scott, how many matters do you have? 1 or 2, 3?
4 on my agenda. And I think there's one I don't have on my agenda regarding the letter.
Okay. And is that what you were talking about a while ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay, kind of. So that's what you, okay.
Yes, sir.
So it's about 4 or 5 matters in closed session that we're going to be dealing with, economic development. Okay, with that being said, can I get a motion and a second? Motion made by Commissioner Ray and second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Keep in mind what Attorney Rollins said, possibility of some action.